Pump it up, pump it up.
It's the day with
This is the day to gain inspiration, to make a positive change in the nation. We're inviting you to partake in conversation, to raise your vibration. It's the day that we will all celebrate all of our peace that make this thing elevate. Watch the negative fade away, cause it's the day with Trae.
Grand Rising, everyone. Welcome to the Day with Trae. I'm your host, Trae Holiday. I want to welcome you to a magnificent Monday. Of course, we get to start our week off nice and right. We got Mele Miller in the building with RiteSize Consulting. We're going to be hearing all about the work they're doing and about her philosophy, and you definitely don't want to miss that. That's coming up later on in the show. Of course, you know, though, y'all, it's the top of the show. Time to get the week started off right by having you share this show with folks who you feel could benefit from a daily dose of dopeness right here on The Day with Trae. And you know, if you can't watch our TV show, we still have you covered, believe it or not, because you can listen to us also anywhere you find your favorite podcast. Just search Converge Media Network and The Day with Trae. You'll find us on whichever platform is your favorite. Now, before I get into it with Mele, I just got to say that, you know, I've been talking about taking the outdoors during these summer days and enjoying yourself. And that is what me and my son did this past weekend. So excited to visit Camp Long, one of my favorite spots from my childhood, and to share memories with him over there at Camp Long. And it's so funny because when you're a kid, you're like, man, this is so far. Oh my goodness, like we're in the woods, you know, oh my gosh, it's far away. And to go now, I was like, oh, it's like 20 minutes. You know, I was like, oh, it's 25 minutes. Okay, not very far. Definitely kind of one of those urban campsites. But when you're there, you feel like you are immersed in the woods just the same. And so we got to be in the cabins and spend some time for one of his friends' birthdays and really have a great time together. And it was like, I'm sitting here, I'm telling y'all to do it. And of course, I must do it myself. And it was phenomenal. You know, as we were touting all of our luggage for one night only, right? Just all the bags, right? Down the stairs, past the field, up the stairs to the cabins. Like, I thought to myself, do we really need all of this luggage? Of course we didn't, but still we were prepared for anything that was to come. And it was a beautiful time. You know, when I'm talking about getting out there and enjoying what we have to explore in Washington State, there is so many parks, so many lakes, so many opportunities to enjoy and tap into the outdoors that are right here in your backyard, y'all. And so I had to share that with you because I'm not just like over here preaching it to you. I'm also a participant of it myself. And that's why I say it's so important to kind of take a break, rest a bit, get out there, enjoy some nature. I also, this past weekend, got to go to Long Lake. So not only did I go to Camp Long, I also went to Long Lake, and that is out in Lacey, and it's a beautiful lake, amazing water. It was not super dirty, it was clear. There's people out there with paddle boards and boats and, you know, pulling the thingies with the people on the back, like whatever they're called, the floaty things. It was amazing, honestly. And it was so great to see people out. I got to have a nap in the sun. So when I tell you, like I dipped in the water, got a little cool, and it was nice because the water wasn't too cold. So it was amazing. Then I got to dry out in the sun. So when I tell you, y'all, I'm telling y'all something I'm doing myself, okay? Do it, you will enjoy it. Washington is a beautiful state, and every year we have so many tourists who come here just to explore our outdoor nature. Yes, they go to all the fancy spots and all of the known spots like Pike Place and Seattle Center and all that, they do, but we have a lot of people who come here just because the nature that we have here is not something they're able to experience in their own state. So I say we as Washingtonians should be the first ones to really enjoy what Washington has to offer. If you haven't gotten out there into one of these amazing parks or lakes or beaches, please do so. While we got the sun with us, let's take advantage of it and enjoy some of that nature that Washington has to offer. Well, after this short break, y'all, I get the chance to talk with Mele Miller, who's coming up next. We're going to be talking all about RiteSize Consulting and her philosophy around money. I'm telling you, you don't want to miss it. Stay tuned. You're watching The Day with Trae.
Sports has the power to heal, instill leadership principles, and brings community together under a common cause.
My name is Dan Wilson, okay? And I'm here from Seattle, Washington. It's a long way away.
You're in the heart of the South.
I think a lot of the kids that we worked with while we were here had never really played baseball before.
This moment in time highlights our storied history and our need for reconciliation.
Washington's charter public schools prioritize equitable learning opportunities for all students and strive for openness at every level. Teachers work with parents to build a trusting and supportive learning environment for students. To learn more, visit wacharters.org.
Welcome back to the Day with Trae, everyone. I'm your host, Trae Holiday. Joining me right now is Mele Miller. What's up, Mele?
Hey, how are you?
Good. So great to have you here.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, well, this is really exciting because first off, we got to talk about your background. Before we get into RiteSize Consulting, I want to know what got you into this body of work. Tell us a little bit of that story.
Oh, goodness. I'd begin by saying that I stumbled into this 30-year career in banking and finance. Some folks say that they're recovering bankers. Some folks say that everything was an accident or they just got pulled in. My journey was intentional, and every step of the way was a fight. I didn't enter the industry because I loved talking about money. I didn't enter the industry because I knew everything about money or because I grew up in a household that encouraged it as a career. It was actually the opposite. My first experiences with money and in banks, it was humiliating, it was traumatic, it was insulting, it was demeaning. And besides me feeling like I did not enjoy it and I didn't belong, my greater concern was the way that they spoke to my mother, the way that they spoke to other students, other adults that looked like me, sounded like me. You know, I'd spent so many years focusing on going into engineering and architecture to rebuild states and communities. And what I realized was that the power, the leverage, was in who carried the bag, who had the money, and it wasn't us. And when we aspired to learn more about it, we were faced with a brick wall, and it hurt. It hurt. You know, as a college student, when I opened my first checking account, it got obliterated. And I know there's a lot of folks out there that can relate, that although they understood money in, money out, there's all these nuances of the industry that if they're not explained to you, and if you're not taught or walked through or even familiar, and you don't have the comfort and the sense of welcome to go in and ask for help, you are destined to fail. And so when I went in to ask for help, I was told that I should know better. I was told that it's all my fault. I was told that I'm a college student, so this should make sense to you. You're shaking your head, I'm shaking my head, but they were dead serious. They really believed it. So before I even knew what credit was, all of my money was gone. And not because I spent it, but because of fees. And in that branch, I was 19 years old, and I'm not afraid to date myself because you know we age well. Let's just talk about it. Okay, so 19 years old, I'm standing in there, and I am asking, begging, tears on my knees, please help me understand. I had been rejected, shown the door. I didn't want refunds, I just wanted education. Not a degree, 3 minutes. And they walked past me, over me, around me, and then asked me to leave. So I asked to see the manager of that branch, and that manager came over, and I said, it will take less than 3 minutes, I promise. I'm smart. I'm good with numbers. I just want to understand what I did wrong so that I'll never do it again. It didn't take 3 minutes. Girl, it took 30 seconds. And my life was forever changed. Because in that moment, I went from shame and disappointment and grief and embarrassment to understanding. And not just understanding about what I did wrong, understanding, and let's be clear, exactly what they did not do to help me best leverage that tool. So that was the day that I left that branch with a job offer as a teller. And my objective was making sure that everyone was treated with respect, real respect, that questions were answered, that folks were taught, embraced, walked through the journey of money understanding and awareness as a teller. Strangely enough, I became the top performing teller. Strangely enough, I realized that more opportunity existed in home ownership and loans. And then after that, in training and development of other bankers. And then after that, specific communities. And then understanding that business loans and commercial loans and credit could create jobs for so many and could empower our community and other communities of culture and of color where the system wasn't designed for to thrive and do their best work. And so every time I realized how the sausage was made and where the real power and knowledge and understanding was, which was about every 2 years, I migrated into a new segment of the financial service industry. Fast forward 30 years from teller to CEO, it's my turn. It's my turn to build, not sausage, because sausage isn't good for you, okay? I am a health and fitness professional as well, and I believe in building something that nourishes everyone in a healthy, welcoming way where we can grow and prosper. And quite frankly, the banking industry is not doing it. Wow. And so, once I realized that I can build, that I can shape, that I attract others that desire to help navigate and reconstruct an industry that's hurtful and vindictive and shameful, why aren't we doing it? Yeah. Is this what we want for our kids? Or can we do better? We could absolutely do better. So 15 months ago, I launched RiteSize Consulting after 30 years as a banking and financial service exec, as a nonprofit leader, with expertise in community development and financing. And so that is how we started.
Well, you know, I'm so grateful that you gave us such a detailed exploration of your journey, because to be honest, it's inspiring, right? The fact that you had this experience that then sparked everything else for you, and that you were able to connect the dots along the way to continue to grow in the industry. And it also showcases the beauty of your courage, which I really want people to get this. You said about every 2 years, you were maneuvering into another phase of the industry. And I think people get really comfortable where they are, Mele, right? And like the idea of like that next level and that next level, like, is that really where I'm supposed to be? Is that where I should go? The understanding that you have something to gain by learning so much and then having a community-minded approach to say, what I'm learning now, I get to provide to others who look like me. That is a beauty that I think a lot of people don't really understand. And so I just thank you for sharing all of that.
I appreciate.
Don't you agree?
I do. And then there's parts of that where I don't want to take that compliment fully. To me, it's a necessity. And being a Black woman from Hawaii is an interesting dynamic. In Hawaii, the terms family, neighbor, and community are combined to one word: ohana. And when you are raised to know that your neighbor's babies are your babies too, when the lunch lady knows that you don't have enough money at lunchtime but feeds you anyway, there are so many moments in my life where I survived, I thrived, I grew, I developed because of a stranger standing next to me. People don't need to know who I am, but they need to feel this 30 years of sacrifice Otherwise, I'm not living up to my own core values. And I don't think that there's absolutely anything wrong with spending your entire career or a lengthy period of time in a single position. If that is your sweet spot, if that's your source of truth, and you're generating incredible impact and meeting your needs and living your ikigai, if you are just developing and growing, that to me is incredible. And you living you at your highest potential in that one role is magical. For me, I am competitive, I have an appetite, I am a seer. I see what we can be, and that is my goal. I don't see what I'd like to be. I don't see what you might want. I see what we all deserve, and that's my objective. And so my job as a leader isn't to just see it, it's to build it, invite people into the party wherever their expertise lies, and to make it happen. Because 30 years of being the only woman, Black woman in the room, I think it's important to recognize that right around 2 years, you go from wow, or they go from wow, we are so lucky to have you, you're so smart, you're so hardworking, you are so dynamic, to wait a second, she's a little too popular. She's a little too dynamic. She works a little too hard. Those ideas are good, but we're not actually wanting to change. There's a reason that magical 2-ish years is the cornerstone of the growth in my career. When I hit a brick wall, that meant everyone else benefiting from this new and adaptive and innovative way of meeting everyone's needs. Hit a brick wall too. And that wasn't for me, and it wasn't for them.
Wow, I bet. I mean, oh gosh, you're so right about it. And so clearly you're bringing all of this into RiteSize Consulting. Tell us a bit about what y'all actually do and what you offer.
RiteSize Consulting is a team of financial equity strategists, folks that believe in a healthy, productive, innovative financial service industry, not a restrictive one. Not one that is based on things that took place 400 years ago. We're bigger than that. We're more dynamic. It's about synergy over competition. Navigating the industry as it is now, understanding the environment and the landscape, and finding innovative ways to make sure that every agency and every participant truly has what they need to eat, to thrive, to have enough. So how do we do that? Well, when I say that we're financial equity strategists, what that means is that there are decades of expertise in credit, innovative credit solutions, small business solutions, leadership strategies, building and developing a new bench for this space, everything from accounting to banking, lending, credit, the broad swath. So we are exceptionally talented and diverse and dynamic as a team itself. But even beyond that, we see our greatest value in reshaping money culture resting in 3 key areas. They're the 3 areas that I have the most fun. They're the 3, as the founder, that's what we get to do, right? This show, we get to talk about things that are interesting and important to you. RiteSize Consulting, we address and support new money culture in 3 ways. The first is infrastructure. It's about building and reshaping new systems and policy. So we workshop with some of the largest financial institutions in the country, all the way down to the smallest. We work with the Department of Economic Development, the Department of Commerce, HUD, Department of Transportation, any organization that shapes and structures and has a great deal of influence over how financial services as an industry impacts all of us. Those are our friends. We're not combative, we're collaborative. And we help them build and reshape to make sure that what they say is supposed to happen actually happens and reaches everyone and not just a select few. So we are all about operational infrastructure and policy and advocacy, design and implementation. So quite frankly, we build shit. We build shit. The other, which is one of my favorites, they're all my favorites, but the other angle that we focus on developing and reshaping money culture is by helping to build a new bench. Women of color, Black women in particular, have a 90% runoff, fall off rate from entry level to management and director level position across the money industry. 1 in every 4 entry level financial role, accounting, taxes, bookkeeping, banking, credit, anything. 1 out of every 4 entry level position is occupied by a woman of color. 1 in every 4. What do you think happens by the time they hit the C-suite? We don't make it. We don't make it to the C-suite. We don't even make it to the VP role. We experience a 90% fall off rate from entry level to director VP. So if our bench is light, and it's already such a select few that make it to the C-suite, as you can imagine, my career was pretty lonely. It was pretty lonely, and it was pretty painful. I'm not gonna sit here and talk about what was said about me or what was done to me, because I knew exactly what I was getting into. It didn't mean it didn't hurt. It didn't mean it wasn't shameful or embarrassing, that it didn't affect my family, that it didn't affect the other leaders that I had developed and recruited. It did. But it was worth it for this moment. So we built a bench. We have an incredible program, brag a little bit, and it's called Ignite. And it's about igniting and preparing women of culture for the C-suite. Not just the technical expertise, but the environmental awareness, the professional readiness, the change management process, really understanding what they're getting into and what's on the line and how to navigate so much more than you thought you were getting into. So that's channel number 2. Channel number 3 is my absolute sexiest and sauciest, and it is media. It's about being here and speaking across the country. It's about putting out my own podcast and a show. It's about just embracing the voice and the noise and understanding that that is where our young people are learning about money. So I need to be there too. This was a little bashful in the beginning, but you learn quick.
Wow. Mele, I mean, this is why I was telling them, you know, they want to hear this because your philosophy around money and your approach is so impactful. And clearly y'all have put yourselves in position as RiteSize Consulting to do the work that's impacting so many. I mean, that is really the beauty. So Mele, thank you so much for your work, for bringing all of your expertise into RiteSize Consulting and bringing people along with you, educating community at the same time, being focused on the things that really matter and really getting us up to speed on how money is really working in our country. I mean, you said it earlier in terms of the 400 years and not doing it based off of that. And so I just appreciate what you're doing. You know, people out there now are going to be wondering, how do they connect? How do they get, you know, connected to RiteSize Consulting? They want to tap in and experience the work. Please look right there. Let them know how they do that.
Well, I'm happy to share RiteSize Consulting with all of you. RiteSize.co is our website, RiteSize. We also have RiteSize.co IG. Accidentally.bougie is where I get a little bit more comfortable and speak directly to all of my sisters, my moms, my managers, all the women out there that are managing money for their family, for their nonprofit, for a business, for their kids, for anyone, because it's you that are moving trillions over this next decade, and you're the leaders that are going to be commanding the future, and I need you to get it right and be comfortable doing it at any time of the day. So RiteSize.co, accidentally.bougie, and there's a ton more to come.
Oh, wow. Mele, Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here.
No, I'm just so
Thank you for
inspired by
letting
your
me
work.
just blah, blah, blah about money, because you know I could do it all day.
I love it. I love it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow, y'all. What a way to start our week off, to talk about money, which is something that, some people may be uncomfortable with. And I'm so glad that Mele was here to break it down for us. Make sure y'all tap in with RiteSize Consulting at RiteSize.co and tap in so you can see what she's got sharing on IG at accidentally.bougie. Y'all, I'm going to wrap it all up right after this short break. Stay tuned. You're watching The Day with Trae.
Sports has the power to heal, instill leadership principles, and brings community together under a common cause.
My name is Dan Wilson, okay? And I'm here from Seattle, Washington. It's a long way away.
You're in the heart of the South.
I think a lot of the kids that we worked with while we were here had never really played baseball before.
This moment in time highlights our storied history and our need for reconciliation.
Disney and Cameron Mackintosh's Mary Poppins comes to life on stage at the Fifth Avenue Theatre, featuring Step in Time and Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Make it a jolly holiday at Mary Poppins. For tickets, visit fifthavenue.org.
Big Tobacco thinks they know everything. They think they know you, your community, the places you go, and the way that you spend your time. They think they got you all figured out, down to a formula, a calculation based off of numbers of what they think they know. Show them they're wrong. Learn more at theythinktheyknowyou.org.
Washington's charter public schools prioritize equitable learning opportunities for all students and strive for openness at every level. Teachers work with parents to build a trusting and supportive learning environment for students. To learn more, visit wacharters.org.
Welcome back, y'all, to The Day with Trae. I'm your host, Trae Holiday. Huge shout out to Mele Miller for being here with RiteSize Consulting and giving us a glimpse of her philosophy on money, and also the approach that she is taking to ensure that folks who are preparing themselves in the money and finance industry are fully prepared with all of her decades of experience and her entire team. This is so inspiring to me because I'm always talking about finding our way to be a part of the solution. And Mele is a great example of that by saying, this expertise and experience that I've gained over these years is not just beneficial for me or my family, but I recognize the benefit that how it can serve others. And that's the beauty, right? It doesn't matter what industry you're in or what your talent is or what your skill set is or what your passion is. The fact that you do it not just for maybe your job or for yourselves, again, or for your family, but that you're bringing it out to community, that's where the magic happens. The more of us who are educated on these topics, the more we'll understand money and utilize it to our benefit like so many others are doing. So huge shout out to Mele for joining me. And I want y'all to be inspired as much as I was. I was like, oh my gosh, what a phenomenal story and what a great way to bring her expertise into something that is benefiting so many more folks. So be inspired, y'all, because you too, no matter what it is, you can be a part of the solution. And I'll be back with you tomorrow. Until then, at 11 a.m., y'all, peace.
Converge Media produces culturally relevant content for Black and urban audiences. Our coverage is raw, transparent, and objective, praised by community leaders, government officials, and residents. Support Converge Media today via Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal at Converge Media.